Good evening, Tewksbury. It is 6:03. I call the meeting of the Tewksbury Board of Health to order. Please note that you can also view this live on YouTube and Tewksbury TV. And we're going to start with reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just so that we know everyone is in attendance, Shannon is via Zoom, so she is here as well. Thank you. We're just going to check in and make sure everything is working. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome. All right. So first on the agenda is the approval of the previous minute on November 21st of 2024.
I'd like to make a motion to push approval of the minutes until next meeting so that there can be a couple small edits made.
I'll second that.
Okay, there's been a motion to push forward and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. Any nay?
I think we're good.
Okay, so that's everyone. Next would be new business. So there was a request from Christina, and I apologize if I mess up the last name, Sideropoulos, representative of 365 Petroil, to address the board members regarding the tobacco violation, which occurred on July 23rd, 24. Is she here? Yes. Yep, so you can come right up, and then I'll have you sign in, state your name and your address, please.
So my name is Christina Sideropoulos, and I'm here for 365 Main Street, the Petroil station.
Okay. And so from previous times, we had, this was the issue of the selling of tobacco for those that need the history. Shannon, do you have anything to add to that?
So Christina had reached out to me about a week and a half ago regarding the sale of tobacco and how the Board of Health meetings, the cashier was in attendance and we didn't really have a representative from Petroil. There was some family stuff going on, and her understanding was that there was a manager attending these meetings, but that wasn't the case. So she wanted to come and address the board.
Yes. Yeah, so thank you, Shannon, for allowing me to come in and setting this all up, because I was just as shocked to see this all play out. I don't know if Shannon has explained to you the personal situation, so that I don't have to, I guess, explain it again, that we were under, and we have a manager who runs all the employees of the store, and he had the responsibility. We asked him, because I was attending the funeral, to take over this issue. And he told me he was coming to the meetings. I asked him, how did the meetings go? And he would answer as if he was here. So it's my bad that I know you guys now. I watched the videos of those meetings, and I was absolutely appalled with that. So I just wanted to come here and kind of answer any questions that you guys have and kind of fix the miscommunication that was represented from us, because it was inaccurate. A lot of things that were said were not true. So I just wanted to answer any questions and kind of clear up any type of miscommunication or anything that you guys might have in the air from us. Yeah, and I just wanted to reiterate that we really take violations seriously. I've attended, this is for liquor, but age-restricted meetings with the police. I think he had a Zoom meeting. It was like a year or so ago that I attended to that, and we've always taken these things very seriously, and I normally attend every single meeting that involves us at the store. So if you guys have any questions, I would be really happy to answer anything from you guys.
Well, first, I want to thank you for coming in front of the board and also give you my sincere condolences for your loss.
Thank you.
I will bring it to the board if they have any questions first that they'd like to ask.
I don't have any questions, but I too, am sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think before seeing the changes that were made and the explanation, it made a big difference. And I totally understand where you're coming from, and also seeing that you've put things into place
Yes.
to help prevent it, and also the part where your employee does not have to pay that $1,000
Yes.
it really fits well. So I thank you for that, and I have no questions.
Okay, and I'm sorry that was ever even represented to you guys. That should never have happened in the first place. So I'm sorry about that, but thank you.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say,
George, your mic.
Your mic.
yeah, I want to, I'd just like to say that obviously I was just a little bit agitated when the last couple of meetings, but I want to tell you, Christina, thank you so much for your response and getting together with Shannon. I am I take it very serious, and thank you very much for that.
Yep.
Thank
And
you.
thank you. And I understand completely your frustration. I was very frustrated as well. And I would like to guarantee that would never happen again. I don't think that should have ever happened in the first place. So I completely understand being frustrated with that. But thank you.
Again, I didn't really know who was running, so
Yeah.
my frustration was just that, and again, once you got the information and you got involved, I'm very, very satisfied with the results. Thanks again
Thank
for the
you.
people from this town. Thank you.
Thanks.
I just wanted to extend my condolences to your loss.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if you guys knew my dad. He's been to a lot of meetings here too. I'm not sure if he was ever in front of the Board of Health, but he was always involved in the town. His office was here too, so.
I have no questions, but thank you for coming in, and I appreciate the quickness with which we got this information. You helped it.
Thank you.
so.
Yeah.
And so for the record, you did write a letter to the Board of Health. I believe that will be public, correct, Shannon? Or no? Is that part of the record?
I'm not sure. We can put it in with the board packet.
Okay.
We'll put a summary in the
Yeah, a
minutes.
summary of
We won't
what
put
the letter
letter.
said. We won't put everything, but
Okay.
for those, just basically it explains, that's why a lot of us don't have questions, because it basically explains what you are doing already. So I'll just kind of brief it out. Systems are in place to prevent underage sales of tobacco, which failed on this occasion. So you had mentioned at the time of the sale, there was a system that when an age-restricted product is purchased, the register will not allow the transaction to continue until a birth date is entered into the register. So that's done by scanning the ID or physically typing in the customer's birth date into the register. So that failed, as it appears, and it allowed the sale. So to prevent it from happening again, you're now switching the system to only allow scanning of IDs without the ability to type in the customer's birth date on the register, which I think is great. So that's pretty much the summary of it, of what the next steps are, and I think that's why none of us really had questions, because that would be one of them. So thank you again for coming up.
I thank you guys for giving me this chance to kind of answer any questions and clear up any misrepresentations of us.
Thank you.
I thank you guys.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay. So next on the agenda is Anthony's roast beef, outstanding food code violations from routine food inspection. Shannon.
I'll start with a little bit of history. In 2018, myself and the previous director had ordered Anthony's to get a food consultant due to their poor inspection, lack of sanitation and knowledge. That's just some of the things that went bad in the inspection. This was not received very well by the owners, and they were pretty argumentative with myself and the previous director. They did eventually end up hiring a consultant. However, there are still outstanding items, as you can see in Michelle's inspection report. The approved kitchen plan, when they opened in 2012, has changed significantly since they've been in operation, and it is no longer serving the purpose. There's not enough hand washing sinks. There's not washable surfaces, there's no place to air dry their dishes once they're washed, and that's just some of the issues. So Michelle did an initial inspection on August 28th and didn't write anything up. The conditions of the restaurant were uncleanly, and she gave them the opportunity that day they agreed to close and clean. So Michelle and I went back the previous day to see what had been done and write up the full report and take photos. There are many repeat violations, such as the lack of hand sinks, dirty, unclean equipment, hand touch areas, floors, walls, tiles, ceilings, disrepair, non-washable surfaces, broken floor tiles, walls are unclean. That's just some of the violations. After we wrote up the report, Michelle and I spoke with the owner, Adam, and Michelle agreed to give them 2 to 3 months to address these violations. I had Michelle go back to the establishment yesterday, and I sent that report to the board, which they also got a copy at the restaurant. There are remaining items that Michelle has been getting pushed back and can't get them to comply with, such as tiles, ceilings, rusted equipment, unclean food equipment. No additional hand sinks have been added, floors, walls, ceilings, soiled, lack of cooperation. And you can see some of the violations in the photos as well. So that kind of led us to have them come before the board.
Thank you for that. So is Mr. Or Mrs. Larkin in the audience? Yes, you can come up. And then just state your name and your address, please.
My name's Andrea Larkin, and this is Adam Larkin.
I'm just going to have you push the, thank you.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Andrea Larkin, we're here from 1921 Main Street, Anthony's Roast Beef in Tewksbury.
Hi, my name's Adam Larkin, and I am here as well from 1921 Main Street, owner of Anthony's Roast Beef.
So can we confirm the status of your corrective actions? Because here it seems like there's a lot of things as of
Sure.
today that still haven't been accomplished, so.
Would it be all right if I give you guys a few packets of information we might refer to?
Sure.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm just going to ask that you get a little bit closer, just so
Okay.
that they can hear
Sure.
and make sure. Thank you. Yeah, you can pull them closer.
Do we have time to read the opening statement, or
Go,
would you rather?
you can read. Yeah.
Yes, please.
All right, great. Good evening, members of the Board of Health, Public Health Director Shannon, and Agent Michelle. Thank you for providing us the opportunity to appear tonight. We come before you with great respect for the critical role you play in safeguarding the health of our community. I also want to acknowledge the Health Department's efforts in holding businesses like ours to high standards, standards that we are committed to meet and exceed. From the outset, I want to make it unequivocally clear that we take no issue with the inspection process or the specific requests made by the Health Department. We respect the regulations and appreciate any guidance that helps us maintain compliance and ensures the safety of our customers. What brings us here tonight, however, is not a lack of effort or willingness to cooperate, but a fundamental misunderstanding of our actions and intentions, compounded by what we believe to be misrepresentations and inaccuracies in how our business has been portrayed before the board. My wife Andrea and I have poured 12 years of our lives into Anthony's, building a reputation as a safe, clean, and welcoming establishment. This year has been particularly challenging for us, both personally and professionally. Just 2 weeks before the inspection on August 28th, Andrea and I welcomed our third child. Balancing the demands of a growing family with the rigors of running a small business is no easy feat. We acknowledge that during this time, our attention to detail in the store was affected, and we regret any lapses that may have occurred as a result. However, we have always prioritized compliance and the health of our customers and staff, and we remain fully committed to addressing any issues promptly and effectively. After the August 28th inspection, we immediately began addressing the items outlined during that visit, as we were told by Michelle that we could not open the following day unless they were resolved. By August 29th, we had met the Health Department standards with respect to these items, demonstrating both our ability and our commitment to taking corrective action swiftly, allowing us to continue business as usual on August 29th. Despite these efforts, we find ourselves here tonight under allegations of unwillingness to cooperate with the Health Department, a characterization we wholeheartedly reject. Over the past 3 months, I have maintained consistent and transparent communication with Agent Michelle, sending detailed updates on October 11th, October 15th, November 4th, and December 3rd. Each email provided evidence of our progress, often including photos, videos, and receipts. I took her concerns seriously, made adjustments to our cleaning protocols, and even committed to substantial financial investments to ensure that we stay ahead of any future issues. It is troubling then that despite this history of cooperation, the tone of our interactions with Agent Michelle shifted abruptly during her December 12th visit. During this inspection, Michelle expressed frustration and claimed we were going backward in sanitation. Yet when asked for specifics, she provided vague responses or pointed to minor issues, such as crumbs under the grill during service hours. These interactions, particularly her labeling of Andrea as combative during a disagreement over hood cleaning responsibilities, have cast a shadow over our relationship with the Health Department. For clarity, Andrea's position during that discussion was rooted in Massachusetts Fire Code regulations, which explicitly prohibit business owners or their staff from cleaning the interior of kitchen exhaust systems without the appropriate licensure. Andrea's confidence in her knowledge of the code should not have been misconstrued as hostility. Furthermore, labeling her as combative and questioning her qualifications as the person in charge is both unprofessional and an unfair representation of her 16 years of experience in the industry. We have also been deeply troubled by procedural inconsistencies. For instance, the notice for tonight's meeting references a December 12th re-inspection, claiming many outstanding violations. However, that visit lasted only 13 minutes, with the majority of the time consumed by a debate over the hood cleaning responsibilities. No inspection report was provided to us following that December 12th visit, which would typically be expected if significant issues were identified. The actual re-inspection occurred on December 18th, yesterday, just 24 hours before this meeting, and lasted over an hour. This re-inspection was the first comprehensive evaluation since the initial inspection on August 28th. It is deeply concerning that the notice, which forms the foundation of tonight's appearance, fails to accurately reflect the timeline or context of these inspections, potentially leading to an unfair portrayal of our efforts and progress. Despite these challenges, we remain steadfast in our commitment to compliance. We acknowledge that no business is perfect, and like any establishment, we have areas to improve. But our history demonstrates that we take corrective action promptly and seriously. We have implemented enhanced cleaning schedules, replaced outdated equipment, and addressed structural concerns, often without needing prompting from the health department. We are not just willing to cooperate, we are eager to do so. To conclude, we respectfully ask the board to consider the context and history we have provided tonight, along with the supporting documentation in the packets we've shared. We are here to demonstrate our unwavering commitment to maintaining Anthony's as a clean, safe, and welcoming establishment for our community. All we ask is for the health department to work with us collaboratively and fairly, as we have always sought to do with them. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. I'll bring it to the board first to see if they have any questions or comments. I'll start with George.
Yeah, obviously, from this document, meaning you two have owned it since for 12 years.
Yep.
Okay, because we don't have time to really get into studying this, but what I wanted to ask you, a couple things. Do you have, or in here in the packet is the emails that were sent?
Yep, I've included all emails.
I'm not going to make any determination until I get the facts.
Absolutely.
I mean, the things that I'm looking for, and I want to see where the emails are. I also would ask from my, the department director if I could get some information on the December 12th reinspection, if there's any paperwork with that. If not, I'd like to know that too. And that's all I have.
So I wasn't at the December 12th inspection. I was just told about it through Michelle. And as far as I know, I haven't seen any paperwork from that inspection, so I don't think she left any paperwork.
Okay, I'd like to make one more comment. My comment is this: a lot of other towns have the inspector at the meetings, and so I don't know if the board, it's the pleasure of the board to have her here, but maybe we should.
She was unable to attend tonight.
Okay, so she was asked. Thank you very much. No further questions.
Thank you.
I have a few questions. So how many restaurants do you have?
Just one.
Just the one in Tewksbury? Okay. You know, I'm listening to you and I'm looking at your paperwork, but what concerns me is August. The inspection in August, the list of items, the photos that I looked at today, that has not changed. So whether or not whatever happened on December 12th, it doesn't matter. I'm looking at August, and they gave you a lot of time to clean. Time where normally would be 1 or 2 weeks. They're giving you 2 to 3 months. So now, this is what I'm looking at, and now I'm seeing it's December 19th, and the same issues are there. Help me. I saw the pictures.
Sure.
I know what's right and what's not right, and so do you.
Yep.
Help me understand what's going on here.
Absolutely, yeah. So, well, maybe we can talk about each item. I know in the interest of time, that's probably not possible. I'm not really sure the best way to address them. The re-inspection. Understand, please, that Agent Michelle did come back in October and was very pleased with our progress, and so much so that she grouped the employees together to commend them. Then we continue to update her on our progress, and no inspection occurred. We got the inspection letter. We got the notice to appear before the board today, and within it, which I've provided, it says it was due to outstanding violations that were based on a December 12th visit that lasted 13 minutes. All right, so we got that on Monday, and we were very shocked because we knew an inspection had not taken place by any means. So we started to prepare to address the issues tonight with the board. And then yesterday, as we were addressing them, at 4 o'clock during our busy time from 4 to 5, Michelle came in to do the reinspection that was claimed to have been done on December 12th, finally did a full inspection. And yes, it's hard to, I want to address your question. If you don't mind, if we could go picture by picture, it would be easier for me to provide an explanation.
Yeah, I don't mean to interrupt, but yes, there's a couple of questions that
Sure.
would help me. First, you said she came back and basically congratulated everyone for the good job. When was that?
So that was October 10th.
After the first inspection in August?
Correct.
The pictures that were taken were just recently taken, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
at 4 o'clock during the dinner rush
Does
yesterday,
it?
yeah.
Okay, thank you. Do you have, I see that you have copies of tasks, but are those tasks actually used? And I'm asking this before you answer. When I looked at the photos from the ones before and then the ones I've seen, you did a lot of cleaning, but there's a lot of stuff you couldn't clean because it hadn't been cleaned in so long. For instance, parts of the walls, it's as if people could not be doing daily, weekly, monthly tasks to get it to be at that point. And maybe someone isn't following up. I'm sure you're not there every day, or are you?
We're there every day.
And do you close at the end of the day?
We typically, we leave probably 45 minutes before close, but part of the process is for who's ever the quote-unquote leader or manager in the front to verify the checklist. And I agree with you, the walls, it's hard to, the walls, if we want to address them picture by picture, sure.
Oh, we don't have to.
They could be
The
cleaned.
walls need to be painted, without a doubt, and they need to be painted with something that you can wash. That's basic. That's basic. So all of the walls need to be, you need to be able to wash them.
So, if I may, most of the walls in the kitchen do have FRP, and we have repaired it, and we have installed new FRP. The walls that you're referencing, is it possible to see?
They're in storage areas?
So the storage room.
Exactly.
Yes.
That doesn't make a difference.
I agree. That wall in which we will absolutely have no problem installing FRP in there. We did, per their request, we ripped out all the shelving that was not adequate, installed new shelving. We did repaint that within the last week. But I agree, we absolutely should install a washable service like
You have to.
FRP, and we will do so.
So that definitely needs to be done. The other thing is your cutting boards. The cutting boards need to be replaced, and I'm saying that because, after using them for so long, the cutting, you can't get into it, and it's not a piece of equipment you can throw into a machine. So you definitely need to replace those.
Yeah,
When it comes to the dry storage area, the ceiling, what I'm looking at, now they may not be part of where you do your work, but it doesn't matter. It's wherever you have food or storage of food, everything around it, up on the sides, that must all be washable. And underneath, you need to be 8 inches up, and I see that you have, but it's you need newer ones underneath. They look like old pieces that you stuck, like in the, your storage area. If you look on the floor,
Yeah.
I'm just going to make a suggestion.
Sure.
That they have, they call them dunnage racks that a lot of restaurants use. They're $35 and up, and you just put them down all the way around, and you can pick everything up 8 inches, and it's not stainless steel, it's aluminum. But I'm going to suggest that because the wire that you have there, the iron wire, it's the shelving that you have,
Okay.
it's very difficult to clean.
Yes.
So you're better off
Sure.
thinking of getting something like that.
Okay.
I'm not going to go into every area, but I am going to mention the slicer.
Yeah.
That, in all my years, I'm going to say I've never seen a slicer like that.
The roast beef slicer?
Yes. And are you able to take that apart? Because most slices, every time you use it, you take it apart and you
Right.
put it
So-
through the,
So the roast beef slicer is by far the most difficult to take apart of any slicer, but we have deep cleaned it, and they are cleaning it every night. That the representation in the picture from 4 o'clock yesterday is not representative of how that.
it wasn't just, I know the machines and I know what to look at.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just the slicer that you used during the day, it's underneath, it was inside. That slicer, the whole thing needs to be picked apart. And if you can, that's why I'm asking the question. I've never seen one that big. So I'm asking the question, can you take that whole thing apart, scrub it and put it through the washer?
Well, we don't have a washer, but you can take it apart. Yeah,
Dishwasher.
absolutely, and we do.
Okay.
Yep.
That should be done, it should be cleaned every 4 hours, but it should be done every single night. That should be taken apart and put back.
So every single night, that is taken apart and that is cleaned thoroughly and it is put back. Again, the pictures from yesterday at 4 o'clock are after the roast beef slicer has been in use since 10 o'clock in the morning. But we will continue to make more of an effort at keeping that clean, even during the busy times. At 4 o'clock yesterday, or sometime between 4 and 5, when Inspector Michelle was taking pictures of it, we did send per her request, send someone over there to clean it again, but that is in use all day. And that was a tough time, probably the most difficult time for a picture of that to be taken. It's in use during the whole dinner
I
rush.
understand.
And if you don't mind, I would like to add that the pictures in the storage room taken yesterday, we were asked to remove the previous to that, that whole area, the pictures taken yesterday, we have literally ripped out all the existing shelving because the health department, understandably, there was one area of the shelving before that did not have stainless steel on it, that we stored pizza boxes on, and they did not like that, so we ripped that apart. That one shelf you see in the picture, we now have 2 more in there. We repainted it. We're gonna apply FRP, but that wall was behind the pre-existing shelving that did have stainless steel that we ripped out to satisfy the request of the health department. So, there's 2 areas in the store that absolutely need FRP. It's the storage area where we just ripped the shelves out and installed new ones, and it's the paper storage area in a different part of the restaurant that we have repainted, installed brand-new shelving, and the last thing we need to do is add FRP, and we have no problem doing that. We will absolutely do that.
So what I would like to see, and again, my concern is August, and now we're still having, I don't care what happened in between, but the same issues are there. I would like to see that you're able to wash the walls, any of the equipment, everything has to be washable. The floors should be washed every night. And I'd like to see a task, I'd like to see it actually done.
Okay.
You know, with, where we can see who did what when, they check it off, they put their initial. You have something here, but, I mean, that's blank. I have no idea if you really use it, but that's something that must be done. And do you have someone there at all times that are safe certified? Serve
All
safe?
times, so at all times. So we brought the Serve Safe, we brought copies of some of the Serve Safe licenses tonight. We're happy to get more of our employees Serve Safe certified.
No, as long as there's someone there at all times.
All the time, at all times,
The other
absolutely.
thing is your filters and exhaust. You have professional companies that come in and they do your exhaust system every 6 months, and your filters are done every what?
So we have the exhaust system cleaned quarterly. We have it done 4 times a year. We purchased two sets of the highest quality filters you can get, and we swap those out weekly. As far as the issue with the request for us to be cleaning the inside walls of the exhaust hood, it's just, we are not allowed to do that per code. That has to be a professional company. And that's all we can say about that. You know,
so-
that
But you have a professional company come in and do it
quarterly, yep.
quarterly? Okay.
Could I just interject for a
Yes,
moment?
please.
So the slicer is supposed to be cleaned and sanitized every 4 hours when in use. And if that wasn't cleaned since 10 a.m. and she was in there at 4, that's an issue. When we went in there the following day after the 28th, it was about, I don't know, maybe 11:30. The slicer was filthy. So to say that's being cleaned every night, I don't believe that at all. Also, when the consultant was hired in 2018, there was a cleaning schedule put together by him. And it just seems like that's not being followed.
So could I respond to that, please? Is
So
that,
I'm going to interject, just because
Okay.
I feel like this is going to get into a back and forth.
Fair.
And that's not what this is meant to be.
okay?
And one of my questions was going to be, how often is the slicer actually being cleaned? Is if it's just once a day, especially with roast beef, that's pretty gross, in my opinion. And I don't, and knowing now that it's supposed to be every 4 hours. So, and obviously Susan has more restaurant experience than I do, and I will fully admit that. But that was one of my questions. So if you'd like to respond to that, that would be great.
Absolutely. So per their recommendation and request, we have the sanitizing the roast beef, all slices in the store every 4 hours is a daily process that we are doing every single day. So
So I just want to reiterate, when you had stated that you've been using that machine since 10 a.m. and that is why it looked like that, does that mean that on this particular day that it was not cleaned
nope.
at
So
all?
absolutely not. So the slicers are sanitized. They're not taken apart. The roast beef slicer is not taken apart every 4 hours. If that's what they want us to do, we'll do that. What we understood was sanitizing is,
Clean the wheel.
Clean the wheel, clean the slicer.
Blade.
They do that around 2 o'clock. When they sanitize that, it's right back to cutting beef. When they came in yesterday between 4 and 5, that's another 2 hours of using the slicer. But We absolutely do, per their request, sanitize we have 3 slicers in the store. 2 that are heavily used, the roast beef slicer and the cold cut slicer. So
So at 4 o'clock, when the inspection was done, when was the last cleaning completed?
the last sanitizing would have been around 2 o'clock. The full cleaning where they take it apart, we do that nightly.
When you say, I'm sorry,
Go
when you
ahead.
say sanitizing,
So we
explain
ta-
to me.
Yeah, so we have a 3-bay sink that has sanitizer. They take a rag with a bucket of sanitizer, and they take apart, they don't do a full take apart of the roast beef slicer, but there's basically 2 components that you have to take off to clean the wheel, which they do, wipe down any debris underneath the part of the roast beef slicer that holds the beef, cleaning all the things that don't require, that are not as, take as much time as nightly. Nightly, they rip that thing apart and clean it.
I just
don't
want
know.
to interject that the roast beef slicer is a different slicer than a deli meat slicer. When the roast beef is on the slicer, the roast beef is very, it's wet, it makes a mess. It's cooked in a combi therm oven for, I think it's 6 hours, and it's very rare. It's cooked to the degree it's supposed to be cooked to, but it's very wet. And so after you cut the first sandwich, the wheel looks like that. The wheel has the red, that's just how that type of sandwich, when it's cut on that slicer, that's how it looks. It's different than when you're using the cold cut slicer and you're cutting turkey or you're cutting cheese. Cheese kind of leaves the residue on the blade, similar to like a roast beef, but it is a very it's a very messy slicing process, if you will.
I understand. I think the bottom line is, see if everyone agrees, from the August 29th, all of those items, they're not all completed, and they had given you time to do them. That's what I think we should focus on. All of those items must be completed. My suggestion is that they all get completed with the exception of the sinks by January 11th. That's just the cleaning. It's making sure that the walls are washable. It's making sure that you have tasks hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, that they're listed, people put the initials on them, and someone checks them off every night. And as far as the sinks go, I know it's difficult to get plumbers, so that would be, you would need 2 sinks, one in the, you don't have hand sinks, is that
We have a
true?
hand sink in
You have
the back. We
in
have
the
one
back.
hand sink.
So you need,
Not-
Shannon, help me, was there one in the front you need? And,
They have like an additional pizza prep station that they added, so there's no hand sink over there. Also, on the line, cooks, in my opinion, I mean, we have a lot of experience going in kitchens, they don't walk around equipment to go wash their hands by the 3-bay sink. They just don't. And on the approved plan, for some reason, it says required an additional hand sink back in 2012, and that was never put in. I don't know why. And then the cashiers up front handle ready-to-eat foods and also cash, so they should be able to wash their hands too. So at least 2 to 3 sinks.
So
But
they-
this is the issue with the outdated plan that we have. It's hard to assess properly when they've changed and added equipment without approval.
have you asked for, have you asked them for a photo, or what do you call it? Plan for the way it looks now?
No, I
Have you done
haven't.
that? Then maybe that's something
Yeah.
that should be done first.
Sure,
And
we have
Agreed.
that.
Okay, and add the 2 sinks, one in the front. I've got 4 hand sinks. It's, because she's right, they're not going to walk around. So the one in the front, one in the back, and then in the janitorial sink, do you have a sink for that?
A mop sink?
So-
Yes, we do.
So we do have a mop sink. And we are happy to explore, discuss in putting in more hand sinks. We just don't like this portrayal that we are, avoiding doing something, or this issue. The floor plan has not changed since 2018 inspection that Shannon continues to refer to, where the health department asked us to hire a consultant. We did as they asked, and they asked the consultant to make that decision, and they did not require us to implement a hand sink. Now, we have no problem with doing so if their view has changed. And from 2018 forward, every inspection report up until August 20, up until this last inspection, we're in full compliance. So I don't know why we keep referencing 2018, other than I can understand if we want to discuss the hand sinks, as we did in 2018, we did not avoid it. We were not unwilling or uncooperative. We followed their directive. They wanted us to hire a consultant. We did so. He stayed on. We passed the next 3 inspections with flying colors, in full compliance on everything. And he did not determine that we need to put in a hand sink. Doesn't mean we won't do it. We're happy to
I'm
revisit
just going
it.
by what I'm seeing now, that's all. I'm not looking at what happened. So I think if we focus on the list from August, and those are the items that must be completed, and I think giving until January 11th is a lot. I mean, there's many places where they're given 2 weeks at the most for cleaning. This is mostly cleaning, and then the sinks
I agree.
till February 9th.
I think that's very fair and reasonable. Any of the outstanding items, there's not many. If you go through the list, we completed many of them back in October. We're happy to do so. There's not many at all. Besides the issue of the hand sink, which adding in that type of equipment is a big financial investment. And
If we need
sure,
to do it,
if we
then
need
we
to do
will.
it, we'll do it. But we just don't want to be portrayed as that is something we have gone against the health department's wish. Just refer to 2018. This issue was visited, and we followed the directive and everything that was asked of us.
I would like to ask not to cut off.
One second, so I'm going to,
Go
yep.
ahead.
Luke, do you have anything to say or questions?
I think you guys asked
Yep.
the large majority of what I had. I appreciate you guys coming to talk with us today. Shannon, what is the current status of, is your business open?
Yes.
Okay. Was there, and this is a question for Shannon, was there a date in which the things from yesterday have to be addressed from your department itself, rather than what we've said?
I don't see a date on the inspection report.
Okay, that's fine.
I think August report was the last one.
Yeah, I know that one had a definite date, I just was
But the December
curious,
19th
that's
does
all.
not. No.
I'm fine for now,
Okay.
thank you.
Chris?
Pretty much everything was covered by everybody else, but, I'm in reading the report and then looking at some of the pictures, it's a little concerning, and I'm not a business owner, I have no experience in the business, so I can't say for sure that, I know what it is and I don't. So, but, one of the pictures where there's stuff on the floor, like, how does someone miss that? You know what I mean? It's like, would you want someone in your house walking in, and you're cooking dinner, and then they see something on the floor?
Of course not.
So it's a little, I understand, it's a financial burden or a financial responsibility as a business owner, but at the same time, you're serving people in the town, and then what if they walked in and saw that? They'd be like, and they'd want to leave. So it's just, it may seem minor, but, and then the checklists, that's all fine and good, but unless someone inspects somebody else's work, think of it, I hate to compare it to a child, but like, oh yeah, I did my homework, yep, it's done. unless you follow up with it, you won't know. So, I mean, as a parent myself, it's, you don't want to be chasing them around, but at the same time, they should be responsible adults and take ownership of what they do. So maybe that's, whoever is the manager, they're probably tired, they want to go home, I understand that, but this is food. This is not just, sweeping. This is, people can get sick.
Absolutely.
Violently ill, and,
Yeah.
who knows what, but it's just,
Yeah.
you guys have done things, but I think you need to do a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree, and we have, since they've come in, updated and refined the checklist, and they have been doing a much better job. I agree, though, that one picture of the steak, that's actually the steak and cheese I had for lunch by the office door, looks terrible. I absolutely agree. That is not the usual condition of the store. But I agree with everything you're saying, I completely agree with.
So I want to thank you for coming in. I'll give George a second, and I just want to say that I know you had said at the beginning that you had, some challenges in running a small business. Absolutely, it comes with many challenges, and I appreciate the effort
Thank you.
that it takes. However, as a Board of Health, our primary concern is always protecting public health.
Sure.
And I want to reiterate that. And so cleanliness, food safety, that's not optional. It's a must, and it has to be adhered to at all times. So, yeah, some of these things are concerning. And, not to repeat, but the whole from August to now, whether it was a bad day or whether it was a busy time, it's about adhering to cleanliness and the safety. So that is something that I want to keep in mind and make sure that everyone understands that, and that that's our part and our role here as the board. So George, you had mentioned you had something else?
Yeah, I was only just going to say that a lot of times lately when we've asked folks to come in, they haven't either come in or even had a representative. So I'd like to just thank you for coming and taking a lot of questions. I only wanted to comment that I'd like to discuss with the board after we're finished with them, or if you want to do it right now, because I have a couple questions.
Okay.
My concern is I have not heard from August anything about, I have not heard anything at all from this
Correct.
since, and on that alone, I'm not happy. So I just want the other members of the board to just understand that. That's not, I'm not into food service. What I mean is that's not my forte. And I do appreciate each one of us has something else, some specific skills and other skills we don't have, and I take a lot into consideration when my fellow board members comment, but my concern is that I have not heard about this until the last couple of weeks, and I'm not happy about that.
If I may inject, and again, listen, we all work hard, and we all do our very best to make things go right and be right, but sometimes it doesn't happen. When you talk about, when you're looking at the dates, I know that all I keep thinking about is when I see August and I see all those things, I would just assume that everything was done, because what happened to the day where you feared the Board of Health? They tell you to do something and you do it within a week, never mind 2 months. So you just assume, and I understand the question, but I would just assume that everything was done, and then you go back and figure it's all done, and it's not. That's all. And I don't mean to speak for you, Shannon, but this is just,
Yeah, no, if I may. Honestly, we try not to bring people before the board because, as you know, it's televised. We try to handle it within the department. And most of the time that works, but sometimes we do end up with pushback, which has happened in this case. And I will say the food code is over 700 pages, and every inspector has different things that they pay attention to. Not saying that that's like a good thing, but it's a big code. We have a lot to remember. And change in staff also occurred during this time. I'm clearly in charge now and not Susan. And the food consultant, again, that was his interpretation of the code. Our interpretation is there's inadequate hand sinks, which is a violation of the food code. And that was my interpretation back in 2018 as well. We do the best we can. Again, a lot of information, big food code, lots to remember. And that's just one part of our job.
And I completely respect that, Shannon. We will have no problem revisiting that issue. And if you, I completely understand you having a different interpretation than they did in 2018. Again, that is not our point tonight. It is not why we are frustrated. I tried to make that clear. We will address these issues. It's not about that. We are frustrated tonight because of the notice that brought us here today, said we're unwilling to cooperate, and saying that there were still the same violations from the inspection on December 12th, when that never occurred. It's just that I take issue with that. It's I don't know how you want to call it, misrepresentation, misportrayal. How can that notice say that? How can you accuse us of having the same outstanding violations from 2018 when we had 3 years when every inspection up until August 28th, and then accuse us of having outstanding violations per the December 12th visit on the notice that we got that brought us here today, when an inspection didn't happen until yesterday? I mean, we just think it's fair for that, to be clarified. How is that possible?
Okay. So Michelle unfortunately isn't here, and we don't have any documentation from December 12th.
Correct.
So that obviously is a question for her to hopefully respond to. And I think, and I don't want to put words in anyone's mouths or what the letter says, but maybe I'm just playing kind of wording, is outstanding could be from August to now, I don't know. Or if it's from December 12th to now, don't know. I know that the letter that was sent to you said
you have the
December
notice.
12th. So again, I can't speak for someone else that is not here, and it is a question, obviously, because we don't have the documentation.
Is that something we can, how would we follow up and address that? Or are we supposed to just dismiss that? Is it not?
So Shannon, with every inspection, do they write something up for every inspection?
Usually for re-inspections, we don't. We just check off the list of violations from the initial.
Okay.
The December 12th inspection that claims we still had outstanding violations,
Yeah.
the agent was in there for less than 13 minutes.
But we
It's just-
still can't forget about August 29th inspection.
Yeah.
I think no matter what happens in between, I think if it's the same violations, and that's why when they say continued, whether you see a piece of paper for that day, you can look at August 29th and you can look at the 19th of October, and it's the same issues. That's all I'm getting at, and if we can just address those, I
Yeah.
think that's the whole thing.
So again, I don't want it to be a back and forth because we can go on all night about this and that. And I think the importance is to offer some guidance and maintaining accountability. So as Susan had mentioned, implementing a cleaning log, possibly, training staff again on safety, cleaning, obviously follow-up inspections that are documented, I would state. And then, I would want an action plan of what you're doing. I agree with the January 11th besides the sinks, and then having a plan of action of what you're planning to do up until January 11th, and then also, because of the plumbing situation, giving guidance and estimations of dates of those implementations as well, so that it's always that communication back and forth.
Sure.
I think, our goal here as the board is to work together and work for the community as well, and it's not, there's going to be mishaps, but we're always looking for the safety of the public and the residents, and again, being a business owner is there's a lot to it, so I appreciate you guys coming in and putting this forward. It's not easy. But that is what I am suggesting, and then we can kind of put it more in writing. Shannon, what is the process of that?
You guys can make a motion to do that.
Yes.
Okay. So do I hear a motion to move forward with those recommendations, implementing the cleaning logs that are accessible, they're being reviewed, they're documented, so people are checking off, there's the dates and the times, and then the action plan and everything. And so the action plan would be within a certain amount of time that we would want to receive it, and then everything to be accomplished by January 11th. Or does anybody, or do we want to have a discussion on that, if there's any thoughts?
I really think it's simple.
Yeah.
I think it's simple, and I think it will be simple for you guys to do it. It's simple. You're young, you've got the energy.
There's not many, there's not many outstanding items. and-
I'd just like to, I will make that motion with the amendment that if there's anything you can't do by January 11th,
Yeah.
we would like at least an email to the department
Sure.
explaining why you can't make that date and an estimation of when you'll get that complete. We want you to be successful, but we also need residents and customers to be safe.
Of course.
Yeah.
Communication is key.
Yep.
So if,
Yep.
something could happen, if you hire a plumber and they can't make it, simple email.
Okay. So can I get a motion to implement all of these, the cleaning logs, update the board, training staff, follow-up inspections, everything by January 11th, anything that cannot be done by January 11th, to let us notify the board and the department of what, or the department, because then they'll notify us, what cannot be done and the reason behind why it cannot be done. Do I hear a motion
Could
for?
we,
Yes.
Could we have in there, I mean, I know it's Christmas and New Year's, but can we have in there, like, by the 3rd of January, that they have a plan, and then the 11th, certain things are supposed to be done until the 11th?
I'm going to
No?
say, I'm going to say no, because this is the busiest 2 weeks of the year.
Yeah.
I know, that's, I
So,
know.
Yeah.
that's why I pushed it
So
to the 11th.
I would want to plan,
Okay, so the
I would want
plan
to
is
plan
by the
sooner
11th.
than later,
See, that's what I want.
a plan of
can-
action,
yeah, we
right?
can
A plan
send
of
a plan.
action of what you're intending to
Yeah,
do.
that,
That's not an
absolutely.
issue.
That, we have no issue
mean,
with any of these
And the only reason why I'm saying
recommendations,
that is if they were able to get all this stuff together, and thank you for this, in a matter of like today, was that today? Or
That was over the
Okay.
past 3 days, ever
Okay.
since we received the notice.
Okay, so the motion would be basically you're going to present us with a plan as soon as possible with everything that you're going to be completing prior to, by the January 11th. Anything that you cannot complete for whatever reason needs to also be documented and given to us. This is minus the sinks. The sinks is to then give us a determination of when you're getting that completed,
Okay.
how is that being done, because obviously you have to call plumbing, all of that, and get that situated. So that would be just keeping us in the loop of what is going on, happening with that, and keeping that forward. So, and then implementing that cleaning log, which should be part of your process or your plan of action, and then the follow-up inspections and all that.
Sure.
Okay, I make that motion.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion in place, seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? I hear none. Chair votes aye as well. So we will have that all documented. A letter will be sent to ensure that you have all that information as well. Is that correct, Shannon?
Yes, I'll send a follow-up.
Okay, perfect. So that way there is no miscommunication, everything is clear on what's being asked, and that we can get this moving forward and have everyone, continue with success. Because like Luke said, we want everything, we want you to continue prospering and everything like that, so.
And so we are totally on board with that. And just want to confirm that also what I'm hearing tonight is that the notice, the complete misrepresentation of what occurred and when we got that notice, is that not concerning to anybody? Or is that outside the realm of this board, and that's something
So that's
is that a matter we should take elsewhere? And if so, what do we do about that?
So my belief is that that's outside of ours because according to what Shannon just said, not everything gets documented when they do re-inspections.
Okay.
So that would be something I think that you would have to, if you choose to, do that elsewhere. I'm not certain of the process. Yeah.
All right.
I'd like to make just a comment on process going forward. If you get in it, obviously there'll be another inspection, maybe a couple in this process. Let the inspection happen. Let it, even if you disagree with it. What you did was awesome, bringing us all this stuff. That's the time to refute some things and to bring it up, and you're welcome to request to come in front of us again if you wish. But let the inspection process be pretty independent of, this is what's going on, even if that's the truth. Let the inspection be what it is, and then we can refute it after the fact and discuss it point by point, okay?
Sure.
All right.
Well, I have some questions for the department, and I just rather not do them in public. So, for my concern, with regards to the misrepresentation, I just want you to know I'm not letting it go.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
That is our issue here tonight, and we respect all the recommendations. Thank you, Susan. We are, like we have done, we will follow through on it, and we just wanted to voice our concern on this
And to
tonight.
clarify part of that motion with the inspections including, I'm asking that those inspections be written, for sure, even though they're re-inspections, and that they don't necessarily have to be written. I'm asking that they are written up for you, so that there's no lapse in communication.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time, appreciate it.
All right,
Thank you.
next, thank you. Next on the agenda is the 2025 fee schedule. So if there's any amendments,
I have an amendment.
yes.
I would like to, for the body art practitioner, we want to change this for 1 year, from 2 years to $400 to 1 year and $200.
Okay.
I'll second that.
So there's a motion in place to change the $400 body art practitioner, which is a 2-year permit, to a 1-year permit for $200.
Yes.
That's been put in forth and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? I hear none. Chair is in favor as well. Passes unanimously. So that will be changed to 200. So then the next would be just to adopt this fee schedule for 2025 with that amendment. Do I hear a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so that's been motioned and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I hear none. Chair also in favor. Passes unanimously as well. Okay, next, health agent approval, Steve Sadwick. So Shannon, can you give a little bit more of,
Sure.
Thank you.
So currently I am out of the office but working remotely. So some things that need to be signed would be easier for Steve to be voted in as an agent temporarily. And if he has to attend any kind of court cases, if we have anything like that. So it'd just be easier to have a backup.
Thank you.
I make a motion that we make Steve health agent.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? I hear none. Chair votes aye as well.
To the board, to the chair. Could we take a 5-minute recess or no?
I want to go home.
That's fine.
Is there a specific,
No, no,
like,
no, no.
No, just talk-
emergency?
Joking.
Okay.
Just talk fast.
No,
That's all.
I'm just asking.
Is, okay. If there's a
wanna go
specific
home.
emergency, then like, yep, like bathroom or something.
I just go.
Okay, all right, so next on the agenda, old business. So DPW memo regarding drinking water standards. All right, so where is that? Is that in here?
I didn't see it.
I didn't see it either, hold on. Shannon, do you have that on display?
I can pull it up.
I'm trying to see if I can pull it up as well. Let's see who can get it first. Da, da, da. Please hold. Oh, why don't I have that?
I just forwarded it to you.
Thank you. Mhm. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so from Kevin. Okay, so there's information from Kevin Hardiman regarding the fluoride in the water. So here is the information given. The maximum contaminant limit, MCL, for fluoride is 4.0 ppm. The town adds fluoride to the water at a concentration of 0.5 to 0.7 ppm, measured when it leaves the WTP. George had called today asking what the cost is to add fluoride to the drinking water. We currently have $15,876 in the fiscal year 25 budget to purchase fluoride. This does not include costs associated with adding the fluoride, such as testing the water, maintaining the dosing equipment, chemical feed pumps, etc. Those costs are almost impossible to measure, as the effort is a small piece of the overall plant operations. On November 6, 1984, the town voted to approve the addition of fluoride to the public water supply. So
Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you. So this was more in regards, that was of the last meeting of having some type of information on the fluoride. And then we had discussed the opportunity for public to engage, ask questions, share concerns, have a public forum. How do we want to go about that as a board?
I'm in support of it. That's all I really can say.
Okay.
In support of a public forum.
Opportunity for one, yes.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay. So should we put a motion on do we do a motion for this?
Yes, we would.
Okay, all right, so do we have a motion to put a public forum in play, and then figure out all the ins and outs of how that works, to do the public forum for any questions or concerns, comments, to see if to clarify any concerns, or if people want to continue, or whatever it may be, moving forward? Do I have a motion for that?
I motion to move.
Good.
So there's been a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? I hear none. Chair votes aye as well. So we will provide information and the steps by steps that would be going forward for that public hearing.
For anyone who's wondering, just if you're watching, the next meeting is January 16th.
Yep. From my understanding, a public hearing does not need to be on our Board of Health meeting, but it's something that we can then discuss if we want to have it on that day, or if we want to do it separate. So that was my understanding, so we can kind of do that in another
Yes,
time.
that's
Yes. Next on the list is the body art regulation. So I want to clarify that the board's previous vote was an error. So we were in fact voting to move forward to the next steps in the regulatory process. So we want to handle everything appropriately. It was not like it's done and put into motion. There is a specific process that we have to do, and then there's more info on that, so I will pass it to Susan.
Well, basically, what we've done is we've just added we changed the fee schedule and the timing, and also it has to go to the legal
Yes.
body.
Town
And-
council.
Town council.
Town council, and when, that hasn't been done yet. And who does that? Who sends it over to them?
So
How does that work, Shannon, for the next step for the regulations of body art? Including,
I believe you made edits since I sent it to town council the first time, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I will send it to him again,
the
if
new
it's the
additions.
final version.
okay, and the version has been updated, and I forwarded it to Shannon, so.
Okay.
And that updated version reflects our vote from last meeting.
correct. Yes, so that was our vote for the modifications and everything like that, so that's all set.
And-
So now it gets sent to town council, and then it will move from there with all the processing and regulations.
And it also includes the change in the time and fee.
Yep, okay.
Shannon, does that come back to the Board of Health, or does that go to the Select Board?
So that comes back to the board. That's what's different about the Board of Health. We make our own regulations and vote on them.
Okay. Thank you. All right, so, all good with that?
Yep.
Okay. So next is reports. So Health Department report. Shannon?
Okay, so the food permit renewals were due on December 1st. 3 establishments were late, and they ended up getting a double fee as provided in our fee schedule for any late permits. And then some of them are currently on hold with the treasurer's office because money is owed to the town, and that's just a process we have in town. Then tobacco permits are also due at the end of this month. And the tobacconist who had a sale in July has still yet to pay their fine and/or their fee for their permit. Our tobacco agent runs into third.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
She's just hesitating.
Pausing for dramatic effect.
Oh, she's
There we go, she's back.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
can hear you
you're
now.
back.
Okay. It doesn't like when I give my reports. I don't know why.
Oh, no.
That Ron sent a warning letter to the tobacconist.
Yep.
Maybe if I shut my camera off, it will be better.
Okay, that's good. We can hear you.
Okay, all right. And then staffing update. Michelle is retiring at the end of January. She gave her notice last week. So we have posted her job description to the town website a few days ago.
Okay.
Congratulations to her.
Yep.
Yes. The regional inspector update. This job description was posted last week. And the grant coordinators are working with Tingsboro they sent out an RFQ to get a food consultant in the lag time without the inspector.
Shannon, I have a question. I didn't hear about, usually one of the towns takes the I don't want to say the initiative, but the agreement for the towns about getting the resumes and doing the work which one is doing that? I mean, I know probably there was a review for each, each department, but which one is doing that? Can I ask?
So for the regional position, the grant's hosted by Kingsborough, but our grant coordinators are the ones that receive the application and disseminate the information to us.
Thank you very much.
And then Siobhan's coat drive ended, and we collected 60 coats at the health department.
Nice.
Great.
Siobhan's also running a blood drive January 22nd at the Elks from 2 to 7.
Shannon, just a quick question. Are any of the outstanding fines or permit renewals from anyone we've had in front of the board, other than the tobacconist, in the last year? I know that I'm asking you to
No.
remember a bunch of stuff.
No, I have the list of establishments in front of me. No, it's just the tobacconist.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next, are you complete, Shannon?
Yep.
Okay, thank you for that. So the next would be subcommittee reports, the Wellness Committee meeting from 12:11. So lots of stuff happening. There is a discussion of a townwide wellness event that's projected for March of 2026, so planning ahead. And then there is upcoming events, is free yoga and mindfulness starting on January 15th at the Wynn Middle School for staff and students. And then they're doing a surveying positive norms at the students at the Wynn starting in January of 2025 as well. And district leadership to attend a restorative pathways at the Tewksbury Public Library. And then they're going to do a health and wellness event at Senior Center on April 9th, 2025, from 1 to 4. So what they're basically trying to do is getting a lot of these dates into a calendar, getting all of the information to kind of put it all together into one place that everyone can see, like from different groups, everything is in one location. So that is what they're coming up with. So good things to come in the future. Any comments, concerns from the board members? I hear none. So future agenda items, we'll do the conflict of interest. If our agenda isn't too busy next time, maybe we can add that then. Does anyone else have any future agenda items that they'd like to discuss? I hear none. So it has come that time. Do I hear a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so it has been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye as well. I just want to confirm that the next meeting is January 16th at 6 p.m. Thank you, Tewksbury. Have a great night. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year.